What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Today we've got myself, Jacob, Brady, Brennan, Alex. We got another show, 360 Sports. Today we're going to be talking all things football. Yesterday was a great slate of games, absolutely jam-packed.
Legendary 1 p.m.
Absolutely. Right now, for the headlines, first one, we're going to be talking about the number 2 overall pick. Hours before the game, he was presumed he was going to play, and he came out, ended the game, throws this insane Hail Mary, 52 yards to the end zone, and bang, touchdown.
I hope this is mentioned, but the cornerback for the Bears was busy taunting the fans, and we still taunted them once the play started, and you know what? Karma got to him.
Yeah, Tyreek Stevenson, we will be seeing you in the CFL.
Yeah,
Absolutely. All right, what do you guys think about this game? Is Washington still a respectable team? Do you think Washington is a playoff threat?
Now, I might be a little bit biased here, right? Because I am an Eagles fan, but I must say that I do think they're slightly fraudulent. And I'm not just saying that because I think Jaden Daniels is a star, I'm going to be honest. And I think Terry McLaurin's great, Montez Sweat. They have great talent on their roster. I just think they're a year away. And now you might say they're 6-2, right? But they needed a Hail Mary on that. They beat the Giants, the Browns, the Panthers. Like, it doesn't move me, I'm going to be honest. And obviously there's a little bit of bias there. I'd love for them to not be for real. Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin is a scary combo.
Absolutely.
And also, I love my boy Zach Ertz, Eagles legend, Super Bowl champion. But at the end of the day, I just don't think they have the experience for it yet, and they're a young team, and I think they're going to be very good for a long bit of time, as long as they're handled well. But as a Sixers fan, I don't think Josh Harris is that good at that.
See, I see that game yesterday, and I kind of think the opposite. I think that this is the first time that the Commanders really tested and they actually won an ugly game. Moving forward, they had the Eagles and Cowboys twice, which are obviously huge coming into the division race. I'm confident in their games against Dallas. After what I saw last night, Dallas does not move me very much, and the Eagles have been too up and down. I see Washington still winning the division, probably finishing around a 2 or 3 seed. They're going to get a tough match in the wild card game, but I believe in Jaden Daniels.
Absolutely.
Yes. I think they might be for real. I mean, when things are going your way, they're going your way, as you saw in that Hail Mary. So
that ball drops, you're not saying that.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, but obviously they have luck on their side. They got that deflection.
Absolutely.
Landed right in his hands.
I will say that Washington was dominating this game. I mean, Chicago didn't have 100 yards. Well, Caleb Williams didn't have 100 yards total until the third quarter. They were being killed, and then they completely just let that game go.
Oh, their defense is fantastic.
Yes, absolutely.
It's the offensive consistency
Chicago defense is no joke. I think the Commanders should get more credit for this win because they played a top 5 defense and they came out on top. Their offense could not get in the end zone at all. The red zone offense was horrible. But if they cash out a little bit, it's a different game.
Which I found that really impressive that Washington's defenses looked horrible coming into this game, and they were able to hold the number 1 overall pick in a Bears offense that everyone thought was starting to get on a roll. They held them to, 15 points? I mean, that's pretty impressive.
I will say the Bears did not help themselves play calling wise.
No, they did not.
I will
Absolutely
say
not.
when you keep gashing them with the run and you're like, all right, guys, things are going well. We're at the 1 yard line, so why don't we hand it off to an O-lineman? Like, I really do not get that play call.
I think
that was really dumb.
That and the play before the Hail Mary where they gave up the 15 yards that let Jaden Daniels get into range. If they don't get those yards, as you saw on the throw, it barely got to the 2 yard line and got tipped into the end zone. If he doesn't get those 15 yards, that ball probably doesn't get there, and they probably don't win that game.
Side tangent. Can we start blitzing on Hail Marys? Like it works every time. Like the Lions did that against the Vikings and it worked wonders. Like, can we please start blitzing?
Yep.
Like, I don't get why people do it. It's like not fouling up 3 in basketball. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, in the first game in Brazil, the Eagles and the Packers, the Eagles blitzed Malik Willis. He didn't even get the throw off.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know why more people don't do it.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think they should. I think Chicago, that offense needed to tidy it up. I mean, they looked at the last 2 weeks up until this game. I think it was a struggle. But moving on, we got the next topic here for the headlines. We've got a crazy amount of even divisions right now. AFC North is currently separated by a game. Let's start there. What do you guys think about that?
AFC North's a dogfight, but I think the Lions, it's their time. Aiden Hutchinson out for the season, I think hurts, but I do think they pick up somebody at the trade deadline. And I really just think they're fine. Offensively, they have Amon-Ra. They have Jahmyr Gibbs looks absolutely fantastic. Like, a lot of people crushed them for picking him in the first round a couple years back. He looks fantastic. He looks like a top 5 back in this league. Like, they have talent all and up and down the roster, and especially compared to the other AFC North teams, I think it's their division to lose, in my opinion.
I agree. I think Detroit is definitely the favorite coming out of the NFC North. Their offense just looks way too stacked. In the AFC North, obviously, it's a little closer. I'm still going to go with Baltimore because, as we saw yesterday, they can have their slip-up games. The only teams that have beaten them are Kansas City and themselves. They have these games every year early on where they just beat themselves with mistakes. They lose to inferior opponents, but then down the stretch, they fix it till it comes playoff time. So I still think they're going to win the division. It's just a matter of can they keep good momentum going into the playoffs.
What about you? I know you're a Steelers fan, so I got to hear about your AFC North.
Well, I'm not a Steelers fan. I'm a 49ers fan. but yeah, I do have the Ravens and Lions win their divisions. I think the Lions right now are not only NFC favorites, but Super Bowl favorites. Mm-hmm. I don't really see any team beating them right now. Obviously, that could change as the season goes on. But yeah, I do agree with your picks.
All right, let's go into the NFC side. We got the Lions. The AFC, I'm sorry. We just talked about the Lions. AFC, we got the Steelers, Ravens, Bengals, Browns. We all think the Ravens is going to top that division?
I think so.
It's very close right now.
I just think they have more talent than anyone else. And I think at the end of the day, through a full season, talent wins out. Obviously, coaching is probably the second most important thing, but Harbaugh's a great coach. And I just don't think the Steelers have that offensive firepower consistently. Yep. Yes, did they score a lot of points last week? Yes, but it was the Jets, and the Jets are the Jets.
Let's not talk about the Jets today. Let's leave them out of this.
In other news, the Jets are 2-5.
2-6, even worse.
Sorry about that.
It can always get worse.
Tied with the Patriots, yikes.
Even the same record as the Giants right now. Well, actually, the Giants have one less loss than us, so less than them. Not me. I'm not on the team. But moving on, next one, the NFC East is very close after an Eagles win. But what do you guys think about the NFC? How do you think that's going to pan out?
I still think it's the Commanders. I mean, just the way they've looked, they played extremely well. The Eagles, again, 2 up and down for me. Dallas, we saw last night, had a couple garbage time points versus San Francisco. I'm not very moved by that. And the Giants, that's enough said about the Giants. I think the Commanders come out of that division.
Yep.
I think you know what I think, but I think the Eagles are going to win the division. You know how it works around here. Nobody wins the NFC East 2 years in a row, so that automatically eliminates the Cowboys, who shouldn't have won the division, but the Eagles had to collapse. That is besides the point. I do think the Eagles had the best quarterback in the division. They had the best running back in the division. The 2 best wide receivers, by the way. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown's a wide receiver number 1 on almost any other team, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Except for, the Vikings. But that's Jay Jettas. But, their defense is starting to come around. They have 2 new coordinators, and I feel like the down you saw at the beginning of the year is them getting used to 2 new coordinators. And Sirianni, ever since he received all that backlash from the media, me included, I couldn't stand the guy. But he's really turned it around, and they look like a complete team. They don't just look like a team that's relying on talent anymore. They had real flow to their offense against the Bengals, who aren't that bad of a team. They were hot. So I think they look good, and they crushed the Bengals. And when you look at the Commanders, they barely beat them. I think that says something, and I think we'll know a lot once they have that week 8. What was it? When did they match up with the Commanders?
I believe they match up next week.
Yeah.
I think that's when you'll know who's who and who the top dog is.
Yeah.
But I think the Eagles have the most talent, up and down. But I think the real question is how it's going to be coached.
Yeah, I want to see if Jaden Daniels can keep this up the rest of the season. If he does, I think they're on top of the division. But lastly, let's talk about the NFC North. They have 4 contending playoff teams. Do you guys think the Arizona Cardinals will stay on top?
No. NFC West?
NFC West.
That division is honestly very much a crapshoot to me. I mean, you got the Rams at 3-4, everyone else at 4-4, I believe. I mean, the 49ers, obviously, they have the pedigree to keep moving forward.
They get McCaffrey back, they're winning the division.
They do.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
The Cardinals just look really up and down. And the Seahawks, they started out 3-0, and then, honestly, they've looked like a bottom team in the NFC. I don't think that they're really in the mix. I think it honestly comes down to the 49ers and the Rams.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We're going to all go through. It was a crazy week of games. There's a lot of great performers, so everyone's going to go around. Give us your top 2 performers from the week from any team. Alex, we're starting off with you. Who you got?
All right, this might not come as a shock to anyone, but my QB1, my GOAT, my MVP, Jalen Hurts. That is my top performer. 3 touchdowns, a bomb to Devontae Smith, two tush pushes. I think he had 4 total touchdowns, actually. 3 rushing, 1 passing. One of them was an absolute dime to Devontae Smith, who made a fantastic catch. And honestly, if you watch that game on Sunday, the full thing, he looks like he's back in 2022 MVP form. He barely lost that MVP award. Obviously, Mahomes got it because everyone loves Patrick Mahomes. But he really just looks like a complete player right now. And especially compared to 2023, he looks like he has his legs under him, and he looks like he's learned how to not turn the ball ball over, knock on wood, but he really looks like he's more decisive, and he's just so much faster than he was. Like, he was really slow in 2023, but I'm telling you, that performance Sunday, if he plays like that, the Eagles are a real threat, more than anyone else thought they were 2 weeks ago. And my second pick is the scrappy dog, Georgia Bulldog, Lad McConkey. Man, this guy is an absolute just warrior. 2 touchdowns, absolutely just gashed the Saints all day. And honestly, it's the kind of number one wide receiver that Justin Herbert has been begging for his entire tenure in LA. And especially with Harbaugh as their coach, I feel like he can really show himself to be a star in this league. And I feel like Sunday was his breakout performance.
Yeah, Lad was balling out. He went crazy.
I think he's definitely the best weapon they've had since Keenan and Mike Williams left,
sure.
and he's exactly what Justin Herbert needs.
Yeah, and then Mike Williams went to the Jets.
Yeah, that's where his career died. All right, Brendan, up to you.
So my 2 top performers both came from the NFC North. We're going to throw it back to Thursday. Top performer Matthew Stafford. No wonder the game was on Amazon Prime, because he absolutely delivered for the Rams in a game that they absolutely needed. If they lose that game, Cooper Kupp, I believe, would be traded before week's end. If they lose that game, they're 2-5, and they're probably selling at the deadline, because they would be clear bottom in the floor of the NFC West. He absolutely balled out and showed that even at 36 years old, any given game, he can play to the caliber of a top 2 quarterback in the league. Not saying he's top 2, but he has the ability to play like that on any given day. My second top performer came from the absolute gashing of the Titans from the Lions, Khalif Raymond. When your offense scores 52 points and your quarterback only has 85 passing yards, you're obviously doing something else to get your offense into scoring position. He had 190 punt return yards on only 5 returns. He had a 90-yard touchdown and a 60-yard return to put him in the red zone, as well as a 6-yard receiving touchdown. He accounted for almost 20 of their points. And keep in mind, he might be the sixth best weapon on this Lions team. They are an absolute wagon, and he balled out on Sunday.
Yep. I think every player on that offense had a touchdown.
I mean, it was
every single
insane.
one.
And don't get me wrong, the Titans are moose meat. They are no good. But putting up 52 in the NFL is very impressive.
That special teams performance by the Titans, that might be the worst I've ever seen. I've never seen anyone get dominated on special teams.
It was anything but special.
All right, Brady, what do you got?
All right. So my first top performer from this week was Josh Jacobs. He had a great game this week. He had over 120 rushing yards, and I think the Packers need to hand him the rock more. He has had 2 games this year where he's had over 20 attempts, and those are his only 2 100-yard rushing games. So I think he could be a huge factor moving forward for this team, especially with a huge game against the Lions this weekend. And my second pick is a 49er, not George Kittle for National Tight Ends Day, but I just wanted to talk about Brock Purdy for a minute. The Chiefs absolutely rattled him last week. He had 3 interceptions, arguably his worst performance as a pro. And last night in the first half, he was not making good throws. In the that 4th and 3 throw to Deebo Samuel was not good at all. But in the second half, he looked more like he did his first 2 years, especially in the fourth quarter, I think it was. He scrambled and threw an absolute tight window dime to George Kittle along the sidelines. So I think if the Niners are going to win this division, they need more of that from him and more use of his legs too. He had as many rushing yards last night as the entire Cowboys team did. So I think he's best when he uses his legs, and I think he needs to get out of trouble more when he can't make those reads that he usually makes. And I think the Niners will win the division if he keeps performing to the caliber that he did last night.
Yeah, agreed. No doubts there. I think the 49ers really like that. Brock Purdy. Mm-hmm. I had my doubts. I did, but I think he's a good quarterback in this league.
Especially
good quarterback, not great.
I agree.
You think back to last year, they had that game on Christmas Day against the Ravens where he got absolutely shell-shocked, and the rest of the season, he played like an average quarterback. You saw it last week. He got shell-shocked by the Chiefs, and you wondered how he'd come out, and last night he put on a performance.
Absolutely. All right, moving on. You got me. All right, I love myself some defense, so you know I had to go on that side of the ball. This man right here, most slept-on corner in the entire league. He is top 5. Mark my words, he is. He aligned with Devontae Adams for 23 of 29 routes. He gave up one catch. One catch, and it was the last play of the game. It was just a toss-up. It didn't matter. He has locked up Jamar Chase, DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel. The list goes on. Whoever your favorite receiver is, he will lock him down. Christian Gonzalez is my favorite defender in the league. And yeah, let's go on to the next one. Next one, go to the other side of the ball. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Bo Nix, he had an impressive performance last week. 220 yards in the first half. I do want to give my credit to Sean Payton. He has designed this playbook perfectly for him. Bo Nix looks comfortable in the RPO, rollout, all of that stuff. He looks comfortable. He looks good out there. We'll see how he does the next 2 weeks. He's going up against the Ravens and the Chiefs. I don't know how he's going to fare out against those top teams, but I think it was really impressive what he was doing, even if it was against the Panthers.
I cannot express how much I love that Christian Gonzalez pick. I've been talking about him for a while. If the Patriots want to move in the direction that they're thinking with Drake May, he has got to be the cornerstone of that defense, and he has been balling this year.
They missed him last year. He got hurt early. He was playing great last year, too. I remember the Jets game, he locked up Garrett Wilson. I was so mad. But, yeah, he's a great corner in this league. I think he's top 5.
Yeah, I love watching Christian Gonzalez. He's so good.
Lockdown corners are so much fun to watch. But moving on, we're going to do a fun little category, a fun little segment. We got 4 separate categories, and we're going to pick the odd man out for each of them. Starting off, we're going to go with who wasn't a top 3 MVP candidate in 2016? Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan, Derek Carr.
I'm pretty sure Matt Ryan won it this year.
He did.
Yeah.
This was the 28-3 year.
I feel like Derek Carr was definitely in there, too. This was like when he was on the Raiders. It was good.
I know he had
I'm going to say A-Rod. I think he was injured.
He had a strong, Derek Carr had a strong candidacy, and he was either 15 or 16. And
was that the year he got hurt?
It was either 15 or 16, and then you got to think Tom's just always up there.
I think this is a trick, and I think the answer is Tom Brady.
I think it's either Tom or Aaron.
I'm going to pick A-Rod, but it's probably going to be Tom just because.
I'm going Tom Brady.
I'll go with Tom.
You got Brady?
Bang!
Unbelievable.
Easy.
That's my quarterback. Maybe not this year, but next year. Next up, we got which wide receiver has not passed 10,000 receiving yards? Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, A.J. Green, and T.Y. Hilton. 10,000?
I think it's got to be T.Y., right?
I feel like he's hit that.
T.Y. with Andrew Luck. I mean, he was a different animal. Keenan Allen, he's played I don't know if he's played enough games, but he's been hurt. He's been hurt all the time. I think A.J. Green's definitely there.
Yeah, he's definitely. So I think we're gonna have to go with Diggs then.
I think Diggs by default. I just don't know if he's played.
I'm gonna go with Allen.
Yeah, I'll go with Allen. I'll change my pick.
All right, split in half. Who is it?
Wow.
Oh, I should have switched.
Wow. All right. Well, all of us were wrong. 0 for 4. But moving on, next one. That was terrible, guys. Awful. All right. Which running back has not scored 100+ rushing touchdowns? Jim Brown, AP, Barry Sanders, Marshall Faulk. Yeah, I'm definitely missing this one. Who came up with these? This is hard, man.
I'd be shocked if Jim Brown has not scored 100.
I would say Jim Brown, AP. I'm going to go Marshall Faulk. I'm probably going to look really stupid here, but I'm going to go Faulk because I know the other 3 guys. I know Faulk was greatest show on turf, but I don't know enough about Faulk, so I'll go
touchdowns?
Faulk.
I think Barry and Jim are definitely safe. It comes down to...
Honestly, I'm going to take AP.
I'm going to go with AP. I feel like Marshall in the running era...
Even if it says AP, I don't think you guys realize how good he was.
Split down the middle, AP, Faulk. Let's see who it is. We got... There it is.
Wow. Wait, well, I mean, I didn't account for the fact that he played for the Lions.
Guys, that was rough.
Like the bad Lions, like the Lions of most of their history. So, I mean, that makes sense when you think of it like that, but still, sitting on 99's like...
Which one of these players do not have a Defensive Player of the Year? Terrell Suggs, Von Miller, James Harrison, Brian Urlacher.
Vaughn definitely has one.
Yeah, he has one.
Vaughn definitely does.
I know Vaughn has one.
Does Suggs have one? I feel like that can't be true. I don't think he went deep boy.
I don't know if Suggs was ever the headliner on many of those.
I'm going to go with Brian Urlacher because I don't know his name. I mean, I've heard it before, but like I don't know.
Brian Urlacher, hard hitter down the middle. You don't throw a slant on that
Urlacher,
guy.
he was always the headline. I'm trying to think of who was the best player on these
Terrell
defenses.
Suggs wasn't the headline on that Ravens or the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think I'll go with Suggs.
Yeah,
actually, yeah.
Suggs.
As much as it pains me, I'm going to have to go with Suggs.
I'm going to go Urlacher just to be different.
What?
Nah.
Can we fact check this?
No way.
I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
Hold on. This requires a football reference.
It's a shame.
I thought for sure Von Miller was safe there.
It's a shame this is a live show. We can't cut this segment out. This was not very good.
I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. I am sorry, family.
I thought he was for sure one of the best defensive players of our generation. I thought for sure he would have won one. Because J.J. Watt was just stealing them all from him.
Yeah, that's probably what it was.
Unbelievable.
No way.
He's still killing it now. He looks good on the Bills. Well, not great, but I mean, he's doing stuff there. Still getting some pressures.
For the hiatus he went on, when he wasn't doing much.
Finished second twice and was AP Defensive Player of the Year 3 times.
There you go.
That's got to count for something.
Yeah. Could have been worse.
Defensive Rookie of the Year.
All right.
Everything but it.
The next segment we have are half-season MVPs. So we're going to start off with
my pick, Jared Goff. Now, some of you might say, Alex, why didn't you pick Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson? Because that's lame. And Jared Goff is awesome.
I like this
All right. And this is the number one thing is that Jared Goff was doubted, and he was cast aside. Matthew Stafford was the guy who was wanted, right? Jared Goff was kind of a throwaway. All those first-round picks are what was actually wanted by the Lions. The Lions were going to draft a quarterback after 1 year, Jared Goff, but then Jared Goff proved them wrong. And you know what a good MVP is? A good story. And this guy is a good story. Does he have the absolute best stats in the world? No, but he has a number one stat, and that is the most wins outside of the Chiefs, but nobody cares. We're not giving Patrick Mahomes another MVP because that is boring. And I mean that. There's such thing as voter fatigue. But Jackson and Mahomes both have 2 MVPs, and I think the general populace wants to see our fun-loving Jared Goff as the MVP.
I think based on strictly story and how the voters are going to vote, I think Jared Goff at this point probably is the MVP, but that's based on how they vote. I don't think he would be the actual MVP.
He's my MVP. Except for Jalen Hurts, he's also my MVP.
I think this is the same. This is like the same thing that people were like. No one gives Brock Purdy his credit because of how good his team is around him. I'm not saying Jared Goff's not a good quarterback.
Jared Goff is so much better than Brock Purdy.
But is he going to win the MVP with this many weapons around him? He threw for 85 yards last week, and they blew out a team. Like
you don't need to throw 85 yards.
If Mahomes at 85 yards and his defense has like 4 pick sixes, we're not saying Mahomes is a great player.
What are the 49ers record, by the way?
4-4. They're not having a great year.
That's what I think
I'm not saying Purdy's
I'm telling you,
better.
Brock Purdy goes 10-7. He's not winning
quarterback.
the MVP no matter what.
But yeah, no way Purdy's winning the quarterback.
He's not even the best player on his team. By far.
I wouldn't say Jared Goff is either.
I don't know.
I don't think Jared Goff is either, but I think he's closer to the top than Brock Purdy is.
Okay.
Interesting.
Who's better than him on the Niners than Christian McCaffrey, though?
Christian McCaffrey, Nick Bosa. It depends on what you're talking about. But
but on the offense.
On the offense?
Yeah.
Deebo Samuel?
Yeah.
No, he's not.
We got to move on. Brennan, what do you got?
I'm going to go with the guy that was on the opening screen, Lamar Jackson. I know at this rate he probably will not win it because winning 3 in this short amount of time probably isn't possible. But you look around the league and you look at the other quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes is quarterbacking the best team in the NFL, the undefeated team, but he's thrown more interceptions than touchdowns. You look at Jared Goff, best team in the NFC, but I look at him as more of a pawn in the system. Again, like you said, he could throw for 85 yards in a game and they can put up 50. I don't know if an MVP does that.
Yeah.
You saw yesterday the defense for the Ravens, the secondary was pretty poor. It was not playing very well. The receivers, they reared their ugly head. They show what they can actually do in a bad way, which is drop balls that hit them right in the hands. If you watch these games and you see the Ravens never get blown out. They're always in a close game, and it's because of that man. If not for him, they would be bottom sellers, and not just the division, probably not just the AFC, but probably the whole league by the definition of the word. Lamar Jackson is the most valuable player in the NFL.
I think Lamar Jackson can win MVP if they trade for another wide receiver.
See, I think it just comes down to the offense is humming right now. They look very good. It's just they need to have the record.
Who's their wide receiver too?
You got Zay Flowers, you got Bateman,
Mark
and
Andrews.
then Andrews and Likely, Aguilar. I mean, the weapons aren't great, but that just shows they're probably the favorites to win their division with that kind of cast at receiver.
Yeah, I think Lamar's up there, but Brady, what do you got?
I got Josh Allen this year. I think he has a slight edge over Lamar just because of team record, and he's more likely to win his division at this point. And also, he fixed his interception problem this year. He had 18 interceptions last year, 14 in 2022, 15 in 2021. Yesterday, he just threw his first one of the season. So he has a 14-1 touchdown interception ratio, and I think that they are going to take record into account and seeding in the AFC. So that's why I give him the slight edge over Lamar, but it is going to be a close race between those two.
Agreed. For my guy, I'm going screw Rookie of the Year. I think he's an MVP candidate. I think he's that good. Washington, they have not seen quarterback play like this since maybe RG3. He is elite. He has taken this team that we thought was really, 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 really bad last year. He made this offense into a great offense. And even with the subpar defense, they're still 6-2. I think they're on top of the division. They'll make the playoffs, which they haven't done since 2020. If he wins a playoff game, they haven't done that since 2005. If he wins a playoff game, MVP is his.
And if you want to talk about...
Wait, there's no way.
2005.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even with that Kirk Cousins here?
Taylor Heineke almost did
It was before
Yeah.
Cousins.
What?
But if you want to talk about a great story with Goff, I think you got an even better one with Jaden Daniels, a rookie coming into this tortured franchise a year after Dan Snyder sells the team.
Yeah. Just wanted to note, Jaden Daniels is the only QB in NFL history with 75% completion percentage, 200 pass yards per game, and 50 rush yards per game.
I think he's a lock for Rookie of the Year.
That is MVP worthy in my opinion.
Definitely a lock for Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
I don't. Unless he gets injured, I don't see anyone taking it from him.
Can we just appreciate how Dan Snyder doesn't get to
reap any of the rewards.
Yeah.
I love the poor guy.
I hope he's in jail.
All right, we got our MVP talk out the way. A lot of great choices. But tonight we got Monday Night Football. Malik Neighbors and the Giants versus Russell Wilson and the Steelers. What do we got?
Okay, so you know a team is bad when the quarterback is not the one featured on the graphic. I'm telling you, it's like when you were watching like the Steelers the past couple of years. There's a reason that T.J. Watt is always the one on the graphics, just because they never had a quarterback. But I think Russell Wilson, he's such a... Literally anybody's better than Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones hasn't even scored in his home football stadium since last year. Time. There have been 12 more goals in the NHL scored in MetLife Stadium than touchdowns for Daniel Jones, which is 0.
That's horrible.
There have been more goals than been scored.
Jones has a 1-14 record in primetime. 0-7 on Monday Night Football.
I don't think it's...
Steelers are 21-0 in their last 21 home Monday Night Football games. A little bit of an ESPN stat, but they are very much built for primetime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just really think that it's not even that so much that the Steelers are just so much better. I think it's just the Giants are so much worse. Like they are just
So who are you guys thinking?
awful.
Giants, Steelers?
Steelers.
The over-under for this game is 36.5, and that might be way too high. I'm taking the Steelers in a pretty ugly game. I got Steelers 23-7.
Sounds like a Steelers game. What about you?
I got Steelers 28-10. I think they'll win pretty handily.
I think the Steelers got this. T.J. Watt's going to show a lot of problems in this game. No Andrew Thomas. I think they'll get it done. All right, guys. Well, that's all we got today for our show. It's a 360 Sports Football show. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.